Hello and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm the executive producer here, John Bates, and I've got a few pre-show notes for you. First of all, I'd like to thank our $25 tier supporters, Antitonic, Waterflame, Samantha Bates, and Maureen Montee, without whom we wouldn't be able to do much, especially not all the content that we put forward now. I also want to thank all the people that have joined on with us since the, I would say, successful experiment that was Midsummer Night's Dream. If you're interested in that, go check out our YouTube channel, where youtube.com/Sensaku, where we performed the world's first, as far as we're aware, live stream production of a community theater performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream. That sounds like a lot of qualifiers. It's more just because that's the way I talk. Please go enjoy them, give us feedback, let us know if you'd like to see more of that in the future. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so on our Patreon page at patreon.com/FSFilms. You can also follow us on Twitter at Final Show Films, or follow me personally at John A. Bates for all future updates and live notifications for our live stream. In the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy.
And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to BreakVerse, where I am Aaron, your totally awake GM, and this is the world, an era that the characters and players are exploring, and they're going to introduce themselves, starting with Steph.
Hi, I'm Steph. I play Wolfina Nightdale, the Wood Elf Cleric.
And Tyler?
Hello, I'm Tyler. I play Theryd, the half-orc fighter.
And Andrew?
Hello, I'm Andrew, and I'm playing Farron, the Asimov Swashbuckler Rogue.
And Jeremy?
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I am Ipsis, Yanti Pureblood Ranger.
Right.
And it's okay. It's fucking the end of October, for Christ's sake. This has been a long goddamn year. We're all tired.
Yeah.
That might be it, too. Yeah. So, in a place where it's not yet fall, but fall's quickly coming. Wolfina, you're standing at the edge of a campsite with Ska retreating into the distance. You watch until you basically lost sight of her retreating frame.
I actually chased her a little bit, but I gave up.
Yeah. At some point, it became clear you could not catch up.
Barbarians, yo.
Yeah.
Very fast.
What do you want to do?
Who else was on watch with me?
That would be Farron.
Okay, I thought so. I'm gonna assume that you have the watch, and I'm just gonna sit there not saying anything.
At the edge of the camp, you mean? Alright. Well, at the very least, Farron's got a bow out and is keeping a watchful eye.
All right. As watchful as your natural one allows for. Got it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's night. It's pretty.
And was there a third watch?
We are the third watcher.
Right.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Ipsis first, me second, and then Wolfina.
Yep. And unfairing. Okay. So, with Wolfina still barely illuminated by the edge of the camp's fire, but the sort of cresting of the sun of dawn, the rest of you are coming to the end of your rests, and waking up to find... Let me check what your passive investigation is, because there technically is a passive for that. All right, Ibsis, as you're sort of waking up, you stretch a bit and your hand connects with a rolled up note that you know you didn't leave next to your sleeping bag.
Okay. I frown. I look at it. I
Okay.
take a moment to look all around it. Make sure there are no traps attached to it. Check and see if there are
Investigation.
any particular
It's a no, dog. Come
odd
on, man.
stains that might be indicative of contact poison,
Okay.
um, that sort of thing.
Go ahead.
Okay. Where is my roll 20? There we are. Du- 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 du. Investigation. 21.
With a 21? No, though having rolled above a 20, you do notice sort of the general layout of the camp has shifted slightly. The corner of your eye, you're pretty sure you see several more things that are slightly out of place. But the one that catches your attention, aside from the letter in your hand, which is definitively free of traps,
Okay.
and maybe a little heavier than you'd expect just rolled parchment to be, is catches your eye as a there's one less person in the camp overall. There's two less people in the camp proper and one less in the camp overall. You definitely are missing an elf.
Okay. So she sits back. Did somebody kidnap? Look, whoever is awake at this, or whoever's awake and closest at this point. Did somebody kidnap Ska?
I'll wake up. What? What are you talking about?
Well, Sky's an elf. Sky's part of our
I
group.
noticed that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
I just want to make sure that we are coming from this with the same level of information.
Gotcha.
Sky's not here, and there is a note next to me. It is either a ransom note.
Have you read it?
Not yet.
Well, why don't you read it and we can
I'm
figure
taking
out what's
a
going on.
realistic approach to this first,
And
because
I'll roll off my sleeping mat. Why don't you read it first and we can proceed from there.
I'm being careful. And yeah, I will then pick up the note.
All right. Give me a moment. As Ibsis is unrolling that, I'm gonna say, Farron, sort of hearing this conversation and getting out of the trying to watch for potential threats around, you notice a small vase sort of perched on top of a book, sort of lightly hidden near the center of your camp.
That would be the book of laws that we, well,
Yeah,
for lack of a
you'd
better word,
recognize the
borrowed.
book.
Tome of Law.
Huh.
Wolfina, are you still staying out at the edge? Okay. There, just roll me an investigation as this is all happening.
Sure. That is a 3. Starting out good tonight.
Never mind. Yeah. That is what the group of you wake up to noticing.
Okay. I am reading a note.
Yep. You do, as you unfurl it, also notice that 10 gold, I think.
There's actually a handout.
Yes, there's a handout.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, I should have called that out more explicitly. I thought you were like reading words and
No, I was like, I'm
to
reading a
cover
note.
until you had a chance to.
Still reading the note.
And there was 10 gold in that.
Is there a similar note with the Book of Laws?
Looking, yeah, there's one. It inscribed on the outside of this one is actually for Therid and Farron. It's sort of tucked under the vase.
All right. I'll
And
extract that and have a look at
Farron
it.
found that, so there we go. It is in your journal.
Hmm.
This is the part where I really wish I had Mercer music.
He is good with the music.
So, Ipsis sets the note aside, gets up, and makes at least an effort to look for to determine by tracking where the single set of footsteps is walk, which direction.
Okay. Give me just a second. Are coasts your favorite terrain? I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
Very much not so.
Yeah. So you don't get the tracking bonus from your favorite terrain, but you can make me a survival roll.
Okay. 22.
They're easy enough tracks to follow. First, they seem to wind around the camp a bit from where your note was left. You see a similar scroll to the one you received with the label for Wolfina on it. You see that pile of things that Farron's currently investigating. The tracks head then out of camp. First, sort of at what seems to be a slow or potentially stealthy pace. After a little while, they seem to pick up speed as though Ska had started running. And about at that point, you're following the tracks and not necessarily run into, but definitely run directly over Fina. Yeah. You still tracking the stuff?
No, she.
Okay.
Our barbarian has wandered off.
Huh?
I'm going to guess this is a while ago. Would that be a correct guess?
Depends on what a while ago is.
More than a couple of hours.
I honestly don't know.
It's been about that.
Okay. I just straighten up. She's gone either way. It doesn't really matter when she's gone or when she's gone.
I mean, it does matter, because if it had been if it had been not very long ago, I could have tracked her.
By all means, track her if you want to, but she doesn't
Oh,
want to
it's
be
too late
found.
at this point. There's not much chance. He is a single
There wouldn't-
person who has the capability of moving much faster.
Why would you bother?
Because apparently everybody who has a destiny to save the world has decided they would rather fuck off and go off on their own.
You can't control what other people do. I turn around and walk back to camp.
Okay. Ipsis, did you take that note? Wolfina's
no.
note. Okay. As you're sort of heading back to your own stuff, to your bag, you spot Wolfina by where you stopped a letter. Sealed, it's got your name on it. And as that's happening, Farron, what's going on?
Sorry, was that Tharad or Farron?
Farron.
Okay.
You found a vase, a book of laws that you definitely recognize, and a note.
Well, having finished reading the note, Farron would find Tharad and pass it to him.
Okay.
I'll take the note.
All right. There you go.
Where is it?
In your journal. So it should have popped up, but if it didn't, go under resources, writings, Ska's note.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Upon Tharad taking the note, Farron will go back to the vase and the book of laws and examine the former for a few moments.
Make an Arcana roll.
Arcana, all right. Don't think I've actually seen this before. 16.
You don't recognize it immediately, but you actually have seen this used. It's looks like a small vase flower pot. Maybe it was a water jug at one point. And that does kind of fit, because as you sort of examine its magical qualities, this is a decanter and this water.
Huh.
Ska usually just pulls it out when she's trying to douse a fire or something. So you saw it very briefly when you first showed up. But
okay.
Let me see if I can.
But not since then, I think.
No, but this one specifically looks like a vase or water jug, as opposed to being a more decanter.
Something a bit more portable.
Yeah, to your sensibilities, it seems like something that was probably used around a house more than like carried on an adventure originally.
Yeah, I'd be familiar with the like how it looks and such.
Yeah. You've never encountered one of these necessarily in this format, but there you go. That should have shown up.
Sorry, let me just... Nope, not seeing it in my journal. That's weird.
All right. try now.
Ah, there it is. All right. This must have been Scar's. I wonder why she left it behind. That's just Farron thinking aloud.
All right.
It just comes back, starts picking up her shit. Stops after about 30 seconds. Looks around. Does anybody else plan on randomly wandering off?
No. Safety numbers. Like I said when I first met you guys, safety numbers.
We've got a job to do, and I'm not walking out on it.
I agree.
Wolfina? I am looking for answers and not because I want to know
I
who
know.
I will be traveling into the highly dangerous deep lands with, and if, for example, we would need to pick up somebody with the capability of keeping us alive.
Wolfina, have you opened that letter?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I pick up, I assume it's like rolled parchment or something.
Yeah, it's
I flatten it and put it in my bag.
as you flatten it, a bit of gold rolls out. It seems like those just sort of shoved inside, potentially with a bit of the folding keeping it there. And 20 gold falls out.
Okay.
Um,
Put that in my pouch and
as you're putting that away, and I guess Farron, just for clarification, did you keep all of the gold? Did you split it?
How much was in there?
There was 20 in yours, and one for you and Therad.
I will take half of that, so 10.
Thank you.
So as you're all deciding where to put the coins, or if you want to just throw them away out of spite or something.
No, money is money.
Yeah. Wolfina, you're probably the first to notice as you're slipping the last coin into your pouch. It seems to vibrate and move.
I drop it.
Okay. As you drop it, you kind of look down at it, and the top part of the coin where there's just the face of whatever noble may have stamped this particular metal, there is now an eye that kind of lifts off of the surface of the coin and is darting around looking, and then looks at you, and then blinks.
Have I seen anything like this ever before?
I mean, trippy eyeballs, yes. This specifically. Look,
what color is it? Is it like on a stalk?
No, just like the top of the coin has gotten an eyelid-ness to it out of the metal, and within there's the organic flickering bits of a twitching eye.
I draw my blade.
There's like, whoa, what's up? Hey.
And the rest of you, sort of as that's happening, you notice the same sort of sensation from the coins each of you have received.
There's like, no. Okay. Is this, I'm not from this region. Does the money here do that? Or, is that a thing?
The money here does not do that.
I'm just asking, Ibs. I'm a little freaked out. That's all I'm
Bury
saying.
it. Dig a hole, bury it.
Wait,
don't say anything else. Dig a hole, bury it.
Wait.
Why?
Why? What's going on?
Wolfina is assuming that this is a spy of some kind.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
If it was a spy of some kind, they would not have revealed themselves like this.
That's not what I'm assuming it is. I am saying that the money with the eyeball on it can't be good, so we bury it.
I mean, it can't
Oh,
be
God.
good,
It's
but
10 gold.
it probably is not good. I would not say it cannot be good.
Is it, Aaron, question. Is it just one coin out of each of the
Yeah, is it
piles
both
over?
coins?
Oh,
Or?
all of your coins.
Okay.
All of the coins. Okay.
Yeah. Theron has dropped a pile of eyeballs. Some
To
of them
be
are in
clear.
Wolfina's bag.
All
Yeah.
of the coins that were given to us are now all of our coins. Is this an infection?
All of the coins you received from
It's
So, Jeremy, you have 10 of them
yes,
right
yes,
now.
okay.
Wolfina's got 20.
Yes.
Everyone, the rest. Wolfina's got 20. Everyone else has 10.
You got a double helping of eyeball coins.
yum,
I
yum.
look at it. Blink once if you blink twice if you can understand what I'm saying.
The eyeball doesn't seem to blink and just continues to dart around, but you do notice, holding the coin up close enough to examine it, along sort of the rim edge where sometimes a motto or something
Right.
tends to be etched on coinage. There is just rock, despair, and rock, despair, and in this circle around the edge of the coin.
Oh, shit.
Religion roll?
So we burying these creepy things or what?
Roll?
I cast remove curse on the pile.
Sorry, 3 people said things at once. One at a time. Andrew.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. Sorry. Jeremy,
Religion roll.
go ahead. Tyler.
There's like, so we burying these creepy ass things or what?
Okay. And Wolfine, I think you said the remove curse?
Yeah, it's in chat.
Yep. You touch the coin and
No, I don't.
well, then you can't cast remove
You
curse
touch
on
the-
it.
you have to
Sorry.
touch
I will touch it with the tip of the sword, but I'm not touching the actual coin
Alright.
itself.
The sword is not a spell casting focus.
Yeah,
It's
you
not an
have to touch it.
extension.
No, unfortunately, for a touch spell, you have to make physical contact with whatever you are.
Okay, then never mind.
With an 11 religion roll, it does strike you as vaguely religious, no faith you're familiar with, but then again, you don't really. Most of your interest in gods is fairly new and fairly related to the killing thereof.
Right.
Um,
This is one of those fucking newfangled surface god things.
potentially, you don't know for sure. The eye itself seems to be a creature would be a stretch, a piece of magic, maybe, a growth. But with an 11, it doesn't strike you as like this is a sentient thing that can understand and perceive.
Right.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
I am assuming Windows or Mac decided to make a noise.
It was me. I'm sorry.
It's
Okay.
fine.
Somebody sent me a Skype message.
That's what that sound is. Okay.
Yeah,
I've
somebody
placed-
sent me a Skype message. I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind. Fine.
The
All right.
fact that these coins decided to reveal, or whoever did this decided to reveal it now, because that was not subtle.
No, definitely not subtle.
Means something. Is anybody familiar with, and I read the thing, rot, death, and
Yeah. Wolfina, that phrasing does strike you as familiar. Whether or not you choose to say anything. Though the other two of you can make me either, I'd say either religion or nature rolls.
Oh, okay.
Same for me either way. So
Big old 4.
firing religion.
Okay.
7.
I mean, it sounds like a chant. The message comes across pretty clear, but exactly why those words are being used on cursed coinage is a little more ambiguous.
So, since nobody said whether they're responding, Ipsis's question stands.
I've never heard of
The
anything like
only other thing that might occur to the group of you is that specifically it's pretty easy to put together that this is one, the coinage that Scott gave you, and this
Right.
happened after you left Rose Keep.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something from Rose Keep. Just keep an eye on it or something.
That seems unlikely.
I pull out my 4 coins that are my coins.
Mhm.
These 4 coins were in Rose Keep too. These ones were in Rose Keep. These ones, referring to the 10, have I and rot messages. These ones, which were in Rose Keep that did not come from Ska, do not.
I carefully dump out any coins that are with the rest of my coinage, and if I have to pick up a twig and flip them on the ground, I will. I am rigid. I'm not saying a word, and I'm not taking my eyes off of them. Like, I'm not paying attention to the rest of you at all. And I cast Dispel Magic at 5th level on the pile.
Nothing seems to happen.
Rather,
the coins seem to remain as they were.
I pick up a handful of dirt and just a couple of things to cover them, and I turn and start walking.
All right. All of you are seeing this happen.
Right. I kind of pick on what Wolfina's doing. I'll throw down the coins and kick a little dirt on with my boot, and I'll follow. I'll grab my stuff. Obviously. But
all right.
Yep.
Yes, after packing up, Farron will hesitate to bury them, but definitely leaving the cursed coins behind.
All right.
Steph, you muted.
I'm going to, as I walk, I'm looking for a big rock.
Easy enough to find.
This size type rock or bigger. And I grab the rock and I bring it over and I try and kick all the coins into a pile that people have dropped there. And are all the coins on the ground now?
Ipsis?
All the coins that are going on the ground are on the ground.
Okay. I take the rock and I use stone shape, and I try to encase. I like put the rock on top of them and try and melt it around.
All right.
Into a big glob.
With stone shape, that's easy enough. It's a pretty small. Yeah.
Yeah, I want them deep encased in a rock that's bigger than my head. Is there a river or anything? A lake?
Not in your like super immediate vicinity. You definitely saw one maybe like 5 minutes off.
A river or a lake? Was it a big lake?
It would be a river. Sorry.
Like how big a river?
Thick, deep. Like
Okay.
you probably want to cross it with a bridge, but you're adventurers, so either way works.
I'm going in that direction.
Okay. Wolfina has made a vault of rock and is wandering off.
I'll go. I'll go with her. I'll go with her. I'll go.
Okay.
As soon as I get to the river, I'm gonna walk up and down the bank a little bit and find the deepest spot I can and throw the rock in.
All right. Just to check, Farron, Ibsis, either of you doing anything?
Watching this all flat neuron usual like passionless expression, just watching it all go down. Slight tilt of the head.
All right. Wolfina, make me
And
an
to be clear, my coins did not go on the ground.
I
In
heard.
case I
Yeah.
wasn't.
Wolfina, make me a nature roll. Farron.
Nothing from me right now. I have at least gotten rid of the cursed ones.
Mhm. With a 4, yeah, you can find a deep part of the water. That's not hard.
Okay. Is everyone with me?
I'm with you.
Roughly. They're not all
I'm
standing.
within sight.
Yeah, next to you, but they're all visible.
Okay, they're within, they can hear me if I speak.
Mhm.
Okay, I throw the rock in the water and I turn and look at them, and as loudly as is necessary to be heard, Scott is gone of her own volition and we are well rid of her.
Okay.
And I turn, and whichever direction we were originally headed, I'm now going that way.
Okay.
And I'm just,
And I'll give a glance to Ibsis and Farron, like, okay.
Having already packed up, Farron is just as eager to keep moving, maybe slightly less.
As
Yeah.
clarification, you're keeping the book and the decanter?
Yes,
Great.
I'll keep both of those on hand.
oh, you know what else I do?
Mhm.
I'm still by the water. I don't want anything that she's touched. I take the note out and put it in the water. I just get rid of it.
All right. Comes unfurled in the water, but I assume you're looking away. The ink starts to run into slightly murky river water.
I mean, I check it, but I'm like 40 feet away. There's not a chance of me seeing it. So
Do you want to be
not
walking?
getting there before it's illegible, at least.
Are you walking over?
Sure. Yeah, I'll make my
You
way over that way.
see, the note is definitely sinking. It's not floating, but you can kind of make out the text under the water.
That's interesting.
It's been dropped.
I'm reaching in, I'm grabbing the note, and I'm pulling it out because paper does not normally sink.
Nor does it normally. So, to clarify, as you're pulling it out, there's the dripping of ink off the page that you sometimes experience if you dunk this sort of thing in water. But the words themselves are still weirdly legible. And while the paper feels wet and heavy and kind of mucky, if you're honest, this is not the cleanest stream in the world.
Right.
It's readable. And
Okay.
it's unfurled at this point, so I'm going to put it in your journal.
Okay. Look, there may be important tactical information in there.
And it's still seeping ink and muck long after it really should have all fallen off.
It's turned creepy.
Very creepy.
Do I notice?
I would assume so.
Sure.
She's not being subtle about
Yeah, you're walking off in the other direction, so if you turn back or look around at all, you would notice this happening.
Ipsis.
it. You put it down. You don't get to choose what happens to it after
Oh,
this.
for God's sake.
Ipsis, you asked me if I was going to randomly wander off. If you intend to keep things like that, then the answer is yes.
I'm not keeping it. I'm reading it.
Nothing that she touched like that, I won't travel with it. Get rid of it or I do leave.
I'm
imagine
going to
Farron
finish
would hear this.
reading it, but what happens after that? We'll see. Let me finish reading it, and I will make that determination.
Bear's just shaking his head. For God's sake.
There may be important information in here.
There may be death and a curse.
I imagine Farron would hear this conversation.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
It's not a quiet
You
conversation.
might not.
Yeah, we all hear. Yeah, we all
It's a
hear.
conversation
Right there, but-
taking place from people who are like 30 feet away from each other at least. Like,
They're kind of
It's a
yelling.
yelled conversation. And I turn and I'm just walking.
Okay.
When Farron hears the bit about anything that's traveled with Scar, she takes the decanter and the book out and puts them on the ground.
Okay. Okay. Just on the ground where you are.
Just on the ground.
Sure. Easy enough.
They live there now.
I mean, you'd all notice that, but
yeah,
But they live on the ground now. Isn't it a nice place?
They're going to be happy there.
There's dirt and, well, not really any flowers, but
Maybe,
grass.
maybe a family of chipmunks will find him. They'll live there. It's going to be fine.
all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will then roll it up. Let me see. I don't have anything that will work like that. Fuck it. I'll use this for. It's not like I don't have others. I will light a torch and burn it.
Okay. As you're burning it, it burns and it turns to ash, but as it's doing so, it's still seeping water.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Still damp and
Fine.
sticky.
Creepy.
Did the eyeballs not tip you off?
I'm just saying, well, it's just creepy in general. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
It's all creepy.
And yeah, I will move to follow, dipping down to pick up the magical item that was left on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Not the book, just the decanter.
What is the book? I legitimately don't know
So when
think-
you were in the city, you guys got chewed out by law enforcement, and then a nerdy librarian gave you a book of all the rules.
Oh, that didn't even
yeah,
come
okay.
from
I
the
was trying to figure
Feywild.
what-
Yes,
what?
I'm bringing
I don't
the
understand.
book too.
Okay.
Okay, I remember.
Yep. That was literally on Ska's person for about an hour and a half. Well, like a half a day, but still.
Yeah.
Yep. No, those are coming with.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, she's not subtle about it, so if anybody's looking, it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
And then she will move to follow.
Just give me a nature roll as you're walking away from the river.
Okay.
Never
Apparently,
mind.
we like rolling four nature rolls of 4.
We are sucking with the rolls tonight, guys. Oh my God.
So, you guys are headed further along the road, I assume.
It's a road to Emily's wish.
Yep. You press on for a few more hours. Ibsis is less able to help now that you're in a definitively coastal region, even if you are still a few days out from the water. This area is mostly the road to the sea. But somewhere after midday, unless anything happens while traveling, you spot a small caravan in the distance, seemingly headed in the opposite direction of you. One riding horse, one horse attached to a small cart. At this point, you can just make them out in the again over the horizon.
How many? Can we tell how many people are in the cart? Or
How many? From this distance, well, presumably at least 2, because you can see 2 horses. But if you
Okay,
can
fair
barely
enough.
see the horses,
Fair enough.
you'd have to wait until they're closer.
Fair enough.
All right.
Oh, that's right. I had that I can finally use now that we're out the Feywild. Don't worry, we're not going to get lost anymore whatsoever.
Well, that's good.
Because I always know north.
Yep. You're currently headed roughly south.
Even
Yeah.
when we're not in my favorite terrains.
When doubt, head north.
Yeah.
I have
You
a
guys are not
compass.
getting lost by non-magical means.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's
Well,
good.
no, that would only apply if we were in Forest, Underdark, and Swamp.
Gotcha.
That's fair.
Good to know.
But as long as we know which way we need to go,
Yeah.
we're always going to keep going that way. Because
I do love that you had that in the Feywild.
I have, yes,
Like,
that was my
utterly
magical
useless.
item that I chose, was an orb of direction that
It's
specifically
mine.
only functions
Yeah.
on the material plane. All right, so
Yeah.
yes, anyway, I will, at this point, sort of, because I've just been walking, keeping pace, not catching
Mhm.
up to the group. That's probably
Right.
a good
hmm
quarterback throw ahead of me. So I
I'm
will
sure
I
that's
will
a
sort of
distance.
catch up as the caravan's approaching.
Okay. Um. As the caravan gets closer, you definitely can see 2 people. One guiding the horse from the sort of the front of the cart, one riding on a horse alongside. Both the horses and the people look worn, tired. You can't see into the covered part of the cart, but they continue riding along the only road there is towards you.
I am not good with talking with people. I recognize this fact. I'm actually saying this. The rest of the group, perhaps, if they're heading the direction that they come from the direction that we are heading, somebody should ask them about this port town.
Fair enough.
Good idea.
I'm sorry if I missed. What race? What species?
Hard to tell. The hoods are pretty
Yeah, they cover the face.
faces. Probably not one of the taller or burlier races. Probably taller than a halfling for both of them, but you're at a distance.
I'm just trying to figure out if they're elves.
I mean, they definitely could be, but you'd need to get closer.
Somebody else is already going?
Not that I'm aware
Nobody's
of.
approached yet. We've just
No,
proposed that perhaps.
but it just has pointed out she's not really a people person. Maybe one of us should.
The two groups are sort of both on the same road, headed in opposite directions.
Yeah, we're still moving,
Yeah.
obviously.
So you are approaching them at some pace,
Mm-hmm.
but
Whether
no run ahead that I.
I'm just letting somebody else
Oh,
take.
I'm in my brain. They were behind us. Like
Nope,
we came onto the path.
headed in the opposite direction. of
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Well, what I meant was I thought that we were
They'd already
like,
passed.
came onto the road.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
This is how this brain works sometimes.
It's all good.
I'm going to keep a very close eye, and as soon as I can determine what race these things are, I want to make note of it.
Just
I can
roll
take
me a
the lead.
perception. As they're coming closer, we'll see when that happens. Fair?
I can take the lead to talk to them if people want me to.
That's fine.
13.
I can do it. Let me. Okay, then I'll move up to the front of the group.
All right. They're obviously moving faster towards you, but the paths will intersect reasonably soon. You see two worn horses, two people who look bent with exhaustion and driving them.
I will smile, wave, say, "Afternoon."
The man, and you can see this person is a man on the horse, not the cart. Will sort of speed up just a bit, clearly kicking his horse past the pace it can maintain anymore. And about at this point, Wilfina, as this man approaches faster, you can tell is an elf. Probably high elf, though that's a little harder to get with the glance.
Don't mean to interrupt up your travels. We're kind of new to the area. We were just curious about the town you're coming from.
He sort of looks at you with somewhat dead eyes. Don't know much about towns. I'm just a local farmer, or headed towards the keep.
I see. Where are you coming from anyway?
My plot, or well, what's left of it, it is about half a day that way. Indicating down the one road. Why do you need to know? There's nothing there for you.
Like I said, we're new to the area. We're just trying to get our bearings.
He looks suspicious, confused, something like that. Well, if it's not any trouble, mine will be on our way.
Of course. You have yourself a good day. He gives a nod.
Wolfina, was there anything you wanted to do?
You're
Is
muted.
it?
I only got the very end of that.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he sick? Does he look sick?
Medicine roll. Perhaps to a certain capacity. He looks like a resilient man, probably someone who's rather sturdy in general, but has just been run past the point of exhaustion more than necessarily like a traditional illness of, I don't know, sick to your stomach or anything, at
Right.
least for this guy. But at this point, he sort of claps very loudly, and the carriage also seems to speed up in response, heading down the road.
The Nightdales.
He'll sort of stop his horse, look over at you.
Followers of the first moon. Have you heard any word of them traveling through these parts?
It'll give you sort of look. Can't say I've heard that name. You can give me an insight check.
Okay.
You don't get the sense he is lying, and you definitely don't see any recognition on his face beyond the "why are you asking me this?" But you also get the sense that something about what you said, he wouldn't tell you.
No tribes of elves in these parts.
Not many tribes, ma'am, just cities.
Maybe they've settled.
Maybe. I don't know every elf that lives in the world, as shocking as that may be to believe about the most plentiful of the races.
No, but you notice.
At this point, the carriage is sort of catching up, and he'll sort of look to you. Just give us the space on the road to keep on our way.
Of course. And I'll move.
The carriage just sort of keeps towards the center of the trail. Wolfina, give them that medicine check you made before. As you sort of start to see this other figure, seemingly a woman, also definitely elven, also definitely tired, perhaps exhausted. You do notice, just briefly, because the carriage doesn't stop, something a little odd about she's He's just very much focused on the center of the road. Doesn't even have the sort of flicker of notice looking at you. In fact, her eyes don't seem to move. You notice the same about the horse. Or she's riding. As the carriage passes on, and sort of kicks his horse, keeping up the trudge of heading presumably towards the keep.
There'll watch
Does anyone? Sorry.
There'll watch him go and just say quietly, "Friendly folk."
What were you calling out?
I'll just call after them. Does anyone need help? I'm a healer. Does anyone need help?
You see some conversation between the man on the horse and the carriage, and they both start to speed up, pulling themselves beyond their limits to get away from you.
I'm going to take that to mean no.
I'm going to take that to mean yes.
I mean, I'm going to take that as in they are going, if we try to push the issue, they are going to be hostile.
If someone needs our help,
You seem pretty adamant with me.
how far away are they?
Let's see. Let me do the thing I've been avoiding and look up cart traveling speed.
Sorry. I was just
The
curious.
best part of D&D.
I mean, if we're getting involved, that's fine. Just tell me when I need to start shooting.
I hardly think this is a shooting situation, at least yet.
I mean, I
I'm
feel like
gonna
there's
say about the edge of 60 feet because I don't feel like converting from the hour time
Okay.
That's
you give for.
They're all on horseback?
Well, the two
The
you can
cart.
see, one is driving a cart and one is on horseback.
Oh, okay. Nobody's on foot though.
Not that you can see.
Okay.
And they're moving away quite quickly.
Yeah.
Do you want them stopped?
And do you want us to stop them?
It will not be a Do you want them stopped?
By persuasion, not force though. We'll follow
All right,
them.
and then she Okay. They're heading in the opposite direction of where we need to go.
I'm aware of that. There's something very wrong out here.
I understand.
I will draw a map.
I can catch up to them and persuade them, but I have absolutely no idea what I would say.
Yeah, what? And fairness, what are we going to
There's
say?
something wrong.
I understand that this party, that this group is a concern on a personal or on a micro level. Yeah, I don't even have have a way to finish this.
I thought the screen
other than I don't care because there's something more important, and that's saving everybody.
We can't. And if there's like Wolfina, they've obviously said they don't need help. We can't force them. We can't force ourselves on them.
If you wish to, if you
As
wish to
this
pursue-
conversation is happening, they're about 100 feet away.
if you wish to
You're
pursue this,
gonna do anything.
I
you
am
want.
with you.
Yeah.
But say so now.
I use thaumaturgy. And I'm going to use my rod of rulership.
Oh my god.
But wait, I have to check the range on it because I
Oh
think
my
it's
god,
shorter.
it's over 100. It's under 100 feet, I think.
Okay,
Yes.
I have to pull it up. I have it on my thingy-majig.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's 120 feet.
All right. Oh my god,
Here we go.
the
I use
worst.
thaumaturgy. I present the rod of rulership. He has to succeed a DC. The guy that I was talking to has to succeed a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. This was such a bad idea. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my god.
We're-
We don't need help. We're
It's
gonna
okay. We're here to help. This is gonna end up with all of them dead.
Yes.
I'm almost certain of it.
DC what, Wolfina?
15.
All right, what are you saying or doing? And can you put the text of the rod of rulership in chat?
Yes, of course I can. Let me just copy it.
Ah,
So, as a GM, I want to
Good lord.
emphasize the excellence of the storytelling element, where the reason Wolfina got it is no one else was morally trusted with it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I have been using it for good, so don't even.
I'm just
Well, I think Scott didn't want it, and no one else was morally trusted with it.
okay.
Mhm.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I will just say I'm using this for good purposes. I'm worried about the woman in the cart that she's being kidnapped.
I like the idea
So,
that every time you pull it out, you just say, "I'm using this for good."
Yes, Wolfina definitely need to say,
Wolfina,
don't worry, I'm using
What
it for good."
sort of order or command are you making?
hang on a second. What does it say? Do I have to say one word? No, it just regards me as a trusted leader. I'm going to say, I would love to help you if I can. Why don't you just stop and speak to me for a moment?
The woman's gonna get an insight roll. She fails. Cool.
I am saying this from a place of worry that this woman has been charmed and is under some sort of ill effect and is, yeah. My heart is pure and my intentions are good.
Okay, but your intentions aren't your actions. Let's stick to your actions in the game. Intentions are a good thing to have, but we're focusing on what the characters actually do.
Yep.
So yeah, he'll sort of, you see him clap 3 times and the cart stops, and he'll also sort of stop, turning his horse around, trotting back towards you. You are too far away to hear the words, but you definitely hear concerned and somewhat frantic, like, talk from the person he was with. He comes back towards you.
Is there anything we can do to help?
It's not something I've ever seen. We're going into the city for treatment, a cure, an answer, something.
A cure for what?
He does not necessarily regard your allies as friendly. Sort of.
But I'm so but my demeanor and attitude is so warm and inviting and trustworthy. Also, the scales.
I like that ended with also the scales.
Yeah.
But he'll sort of.
Not to mention the big brooding half-orc fully armed. I'm friendly too.
When the first worker fell sick, we thought it might just be age. But there was more and more, and
What are the symptoms?
their eye, he started to cataract. It seemed like every day more people were falling ill.
It's blindness then.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have one that we can examine?
He'll sort of. Those of us that were well enough to travel came. I'll get. And he'll sort of leave his horse and just walk back to the cart, pulling open the tarp thrown over the back, seemingly having a conversation with someone inside, who also gets to make a check because, I mean,
Why not?
radical disposition shifts are potentially noticeable.
We found out.
That is a natural 20.
Oof.
Huh.
So he sort of, as he walks back to the group, you see that he's holding, sort of guiding by the hand, a child by elven standards, perhaps early 20s, with the wear on her face of someone who's lived a life farming and exercising outside most of the time. She seems kind of confused assessing this situation, though it's pretty obvious to all of you who, just from the way her eyes have sort of cataract and glassed over her, and from the fact that she seems to just be trying to figure out where you are from any movement you make, that she cannot see. Wolfina, what were you doing? What are you doing?
Give me 1 second. I have to pull a spell up. Double check and make sure that I have the material components. Yep, I do. Okay. I am going to examine the person gently, and I will say,
What's going on?
I
You
would
reached
very
the
much
town
like.
already?
My name is Wolfina. I am from, or I was from the Nightdales. If there's something affecting you, I may be able to help. Will you let me?
I don't recognize that name. Are you with the city?
No.
Papa, why have we stopped here? And he's just, these people are here to help. She's trustworthy. And you can see the girl sort of tense. I heard what you said to Mama earlier.
What did he say?
Wolfino, what's your AC?
Oh no.
Let me double check before I say it, because I'll be wrong. 18.
All right. With a natural 1, this girl, clearly not terribly proficient with the blade, strikes out at you with what would be generous to call a dagger. It's sort of a shortened sickle, seemingly with a sharp edge. She can't actually see you, so she mostly just ends up losing her balance and face planting. Heretic.
I-
Are you the witch that cursed this place?
What?
What witch cursed this? Certainly not us, but we just got here.
Yeah,
But tell me more about this witch that cursed this place. And I'm not looking at the kid. I'm looking at the guy who brought it over.
It's just speculation. We started to fall sick. Like perhaps it was some creature, some witch. It may be just animals in the area, but we couldn't find a cause.
So there's no actual evidence. It's just people being scared and thinking, hey, must be a witch. Is there any
Papa
evidence?
didn't trust you, so it must be some spell.
I'm not talking to you.
She's trying to climb up, having a bit of difficulty keeping her balance.
Third will help her up. Like, here you go.
She accepts the help and then immediately realizes what's going on and sort of backs away.
All right.
Was there anything
Hang
to
on, guys.
actually suggest an
Give me a second.
individual responsible? I just want to get this answer first.
I didn't hear because someone was talking over you. Sorry.
Was there anything to suggest that an actual individual was responsible, or was it all simply unfounded speculation?
Only how fast it spread. But no.
Very well.
Wolfina?
I was hoping to catch the kid before they fell, but I gently will touch the kid's arm, and I'm going to try casting Lesser Restoration.
All right.
And see if it has an effect.
Let me check something. Farron, you were also trying to say something, I think.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Lesser Restoration will do it. Her eyes sort of seem to start healing over, and you all can see the work of Wolfina's magic. And she either rolls really bad or really good. This time, as her sight returns, she has a second to actually see what's going on, and her blade connects with you, Wolfina.
I take it. It's yeah.
I will get in front of Will.
And
No.
here is the
No,
point.
no, just wait.
In retrospect.
As you don't have a chance to say just wait, as a blade sort of swipes across, dealing 8 points of non-magical slashing damage to you.
That's fine. No, I meant just wait to the others because I'm like open-handed and I'm trying to meet the kid eye to eye. Like I just wince and I say,
I mean,
I
you can
cast-
say that. That's not
Mate.
stopping. That's not stopping the fact that as soon as
All
the
right.
flash of
So, given all of that, we're gonna roll initiative because I have a feeling that people have different approaches here and are all going to get a chance at this point.
Okay.
But Wilfina, you are surprised.
I also have the feeling we're interrupting each other a little bit.
Yeah, we're interrupting each
I
other
mean,
a lot.
welcome to
but I'm
Final
trying
Show
to-
Films games.
Yeah, I'm trying to give everyone a chance, but it's
Understood.
Laureate's not here. Never mind. Terry.
Oh, nice.
All right. Yeah. So, Wilfina, you've gotten slashed, and Farron, you are the first person to see this and have an opportunity to react.
Okay, so what Farron's going to do is she's going to hold both hands out, step forward to the front, and say, "Everyone, stop a moment. We can talk this out." I would like to roll persuasion.
Okay. Definitely roll.
32, natural 20.
Whew.
All right. So, with that information, Ipsis, going into your turn, you are the next person who has a chance to react.
Who's doing the same thing she was going to do anyways, which is the crossbow is out and pointed, and nothing else is happening because she's not attacking a child. But
I mean, this person is early 20s, but child by Elven standards.
child.
Yeah. She is
But
actively not older than
there
Wolfie,
is a crossbow
but
trained on her head because
Okay.
they just attacked one of her.
yeah.
Alright.
Just
Yeah. But that's important information to know.
yeah.
And that's why I was trying to find out what was happening. Sarah.
Third will kind of pull Wolfina back, and he'll have his hand on his short
resist.
sword. He'll have his hand on his short sword. He won't draw it, but he locks eyes with her and he says, "Just listen." And I'll get the glance to Farron since she's kind of talking
If
through this.
Wolfina is resisting, that's going to be athletics opposed by Wolfina's athletics or acrobatics because this is a grapple.
Okay. I will do acrobatics.
No, you have to do athletics. You are
Okay. Thank
the
you.
aggressor.
Wolfina has the choice between. Jesus Christ, you people!
Good Lord.
Wolfina is not moving.
Making up for the fact that up until like 20 minutes ago in this game, we weren't rolling for
Yeah,
shit.
we're rolling.
I mean, it matters now, I guess.
Doesn't matter now, but we were just. I'll let her go then. If she's saying it's fine.
Well, she doesn't have. There are other people in the
Okay.
team.
They go first.
She will. The girl will sort of hold her sickle in front of her defensively. Most of her attention is sort of focused on best you can tell flickering between her father and the group of you, trying to figure out what has happened. that seems to still be a sticking point for her, but she's not attacking right now.
Okay.
She does seem like she's blinking sunlight out of her eyes. It's probably been a while since she's been able to see this clearly. Given Wolfina hasn't moved yet, he's not going to move. So Wolfina, it's your turn.
Just attempting to make eye contact now that she can see, or that she's starting to. I am like down, partially kneeling. Feel better? I put a charm effect on your father so that he'd let me help you. Otherwise, it seemed like he wasn't going to trust me enough to try.
Farron? Interfering?
No. I'm not about to contradict Wolfina.
I should probably be clear, by the way. I was holding action just in case.
I was too. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't hold action if you take an action, but
I mean, it was.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Yeah. Got it. Yes, because
there were multiple people who were talking that I was responding to. Yeah. Okay. So Ibsis, I assume you're still holding. Therid, what are you doing?
I'm holding an action too until she
holding
tries.
an action for what trigger to do what?
For her to maybe slash again if she gets freaked out, and then I'll just kind of try to block it with one of my short swords.
Okay. This isn't traditional combat, so.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll later. So. She'll sort of. Set determination. Then release him now. You've done your magic. You've satisfied whatever it is. Let him go.
Wouldn't you like the rest of your friends to be helped too?
Let my father go.
I don't actually know if I can. It'll wear off. I reach into my pouch. I pull out 10 gold. I am in no way attempting to harm you or anyone I care about. I drop the gold on the ground. But I can do this a few more times. I can guarantee that I'm able to help you because it worked this time. If you care about your family or whoever else is in there with this condition, you may try to put that down long enough for me to take a look.
She still has her weapon sort of trained on you as she reaches out to her father. Come on, we have to go. We have to go now. Come on. And he just sort of looks to you, Wolfina, because you're in charge here.
Do you have anyone else that needs help?
We're all sick. I've made it all right by now. Oh, but all less. And she's sort of at this point. I'm just gonna say, Therid, make me. This is not. Do you have any intercession abilities? This is what I was concerned about.
What do you mean? I'm just curious.
You have the Shield Master feat or some ability that would allow you to intercede in another's attack?
No, not that I know of. No.
Okay.
Okay.
So you sort of see this happening and start trying to block, but
I mean, I did. my held
But
action
Ibsis is yeah.
yeah. If
you're
there
Yeah,
is an
it's
attack,
so yeah.
I am attacking.
yeah. If you don't kill her, she still gets to roll her attack, which is back to being a
So
natural one.
this is gonna be This is gonna be a little ad hockey.
That's fair.
I want to. What is she attacking with? Just a blade of some kind?
Technically, it's a scythe, just the generic weapon.
Okay. I want to shoot her in the hand, so she drops the side.
Okay.
Ipsis is not trying to kill anyone.
All right. The DC is going to be higher than it would be to just hit her in general. And if you don't hit, you will just miss.
Mm-hmm.
But you can make me the attack roll.
Okay.
Well, unless you roll a natural one, in which case I might decide to be cruel.
I mean, if I accidentally shoot this bitch through the throat, then maybe she shouldn't have attacked. All right. +2 for that. All right. And I'm not using sharpshooter. No surprise. 29.
Damn.
Yeah, a 29 will do it. And
Tunk. And then slap another quill in. Fast reload.
yeah. As that kind of fits with the natural one that she rolled. Spilling, not even at her feet. And she's holding sort of her hand, though I do want you to roll damage on that.
Yeah. Hopefully, I really don't want to kill her, but my minimum damage might do it.
Jesus.
It's a magical crossbow.
Just roll damage. You knew that
Just roll damage, Jeremy.
Oops, that's not damage. 11 piercing damage.
Jesus Christ.
She's not looking great, and her hand is pretty maimed, but she is not dead because you were shooting her hand. That's reduced damage.
Her immediate response is, I will happily fix that once things have calmed down. But if you attack again, the next one goes through your head.
Farron, no, sorry. The next person who gets a turn is Wilfina, because that was on her round.
For Ibsis, this is unbelievably reasonable. I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
I know it is.
Reasonable come from Ibs.
Wolfina takes a moment, and the same expression on her face as when we were in that house and you tried to shoot a woman out of her house. And the thing just went twang, only this time you hit. I think it best, she says over her shoulder, that the rest of you leave before you escalate this any further.
Escalate? What are you talking about?
I lean forward. It was not a humongous amount of damage. She's not like organs aren't dropping out, but she's not looking good.
She has a crossbow bolt through her. Probably like through like right here. Through like an artery.
Oof. Jesus.
Is she within reach of me?
She's in melee distance with you, yeah.
I grab a hold of the injury and cast Cure Wounds on it.
Okay.
At second level.
So Cure Wounds is technically automatic, but given this is an unwilling creature, I'm going to say you need to make me a melee spell attack.
Yep.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's
I get a +9. So it'll be a d20 +9, I believe.
Yeah, or just roll any of your spells that have an attack modifier.
Oh, okay. I actually don't remember. Let's just do a d20 +9. 14?
Okay. Yep. As a note, you can find that if you go to the the central page of your spells the
Huh?
page of your sheet.
Core.
Yeah.
Oh, the stuff
Spiritual
that's under
weapon,
that.
for example, has an attack modifier.
Thank you.
Yep. A 14 will hit. So yeah, the wound's not there anymore.
Can I have
Okay,
my full
Farron,
attack,
your
please?
turn.
Okay, so at the risk of escalating this further, I activate Radiant Soul. So Farron's eyes turn pure gold, and a pair of identically colored shimmering ethereal wings sprout from her shoulder blades. When she speaks, there is a reverberation reinforced with the heavenly power in her soul. And she just yells, "Enough!"
Okay. Can you put that in chat for me just because I always forget the ASMR abilities? Thanks. Jeremy, once you've recovered, Ipsis has a turn, and I assume she has not burst out laughing.
No, Ipsis has not. I mean, Ipsis is not moving. Is
Okay.
not backing up.
Same held action or
Same held action. Although there is a brief notion that looks like no though.
Okay.
Yeah, no, same action, same being just eyes locked directly on this kid.
all right. Therad?
Therad sees these wings spread out. His eyes go wide because he's heard of Asamirs, but he's never had a whole lot of contact with them. So just for a second, he's just like, "Holy crap!" And he does what Farron says, and he just stands down. He stands down.
Okay.
Yeah, Farron was yelling at everyone.
She gets a religion check because it's very unlikely she has. Well, I mean, she lives in an area where they're quite common, and apparently can roll really well. So,
Unless she's
Within-
trying to avoid getting shot in the fucking hand.
she just roll for that. You roll for that. She sort of like no, she wouldn't know well enough to. She sort of starts stepping away, sort of freaked out by the entire encounter. Farron, you catch a moment of her trying to figure out what the fuck you are, what you might want. And we didn't establish exactly what your action was, Ipsis, but she is bolting at this point.
Oh, she's running away. Ipsis is letting her go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is bolting towards their horses and towards the cart.
To clear, is she still holding on to the bolt that I shot her with?
I think it probably popped out of her hand when
So it's on the ground? Okay, now she can go.
Otherwise,
I might have chased her down.
Did anything
Bolts
with it?
are cheap. I mean, they're not horribly expensive, but
yeah, it's probably on the ground. It's a little bloody.
It's fine.
But yeah, she's
so
not.
Are the rest? Are the rest of her crossbow bolts?
At some point, I'm gonna be like, roll for infectious disease. You've made some poison.
I mean, I feel like she didn't. I feel like she did not have the opportunity to buy a lot of crossbow bolts in the Feywild over 8 years. So she probably got very good at recovering and cleaning.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah, she is running away, and she'll make it like halfway to the carts, but by her turn. No, actually, dash
Yeah, I think it's
Sure.
yeah.
60 out of 100.
Correct.
And she seems to be yelling something as she does so. The cart, hearing her, will start moving away.
You should let the father go. Or whatever he is, go. You're muted.
No, I'm not. I was just whispering.
Oh.
I was waiting for my turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'm talking out of turn. My bad.
And
It's okay. I know what you're good for.
yeah. Wolfina will. Wolfina, that's your turn.
Am I able to drop?
It's an item.
Okay, that's what I thought. What I will do instead is look the father dead in the face and say, I'm about to end this spell. Keep in mind that I am doing all this to help you. I don't speak for them in this case. And I cast Dispel Magic.
His turn is next round, but good to know. Farron Ipsis Therid, any of you interceding?
No.
I put my crossbow down. I lower my crossbow, reach down, pick up my bolt, and put it in my quiver.
Okay.
And I sheathe my blades. I sheathe them too.
All right. She will make it the rest of the way to the horse and hop on.
You forgot someone.
She goes before. Sorry.
Oh no, that was just yelling
Oh.
about.
That makes a lot more sense.
Sorry, I did not even consider how that might be interpreted.
Well, I hadn't actually said anything yet, but
Oh, that's right.
moments passed? Question mark.
I asked if any of you were doing anything, and then
No.
Yeah.
They're
didn't have
just
time.
sheathed swords.
Wolfina, it's not your turn yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't have a lot of time to think, and I don't
It's
work
okay.
well under pressure
That's
of
fine.
time, so I'm not really concerned.
Cool.
All right. If Farron doesn't have anything at this point, yeah, the guy is also gonna bolt. Cause yeah. Wolfina, it's your turn.
No, I was just gonna tell him I can do that a few more times if you want me to help anyone, but I'm gonna keep chasing you or getting stabbed.
You tell his retreating back that.
Yes, I use thaumaturgy to make it loud enough for the others to hear.
He's not that far away. You can hear fine.
Oh, okay, that's fine then.
He can hear you fine. And he just seems to be fleeing.
That's fine.
And the two exhausted horses and their car are quickly almost tripping over themselves to flee into the distance, with the man and running behind, maybe eventually to catch up to his family, already exhausted. Going once, going twice.
No, they can fuck off for all I care.
Nope. They're just like, yeah, this hero thing kind of sucks.
Don't try to be a hero. Just try to do what you think you need to.
You seem so narrowly focused. Do you not get that that means that there's some kind of a plague going on in the area that we're heading into? And I was just able to verify that I can cure it. That's what's significant out of this incident. You're completely missing the point, and I keep talking.
Yeah, but Sarah starts to say something, but he just kind of stops.
Farron raises one hand and says, I noticed. Then she catches herself and, oh no, did I do this again? Sorry,
Yeah,
this
you.
happened. Sorry, this happens.
The wing thing? The wings? The thing that happens?
Ipsis is
Yeah.
just sort of standing there. Wolfina, please come back.
You're muted.
Nope. Oh yeah.
I was muted, but facial expressions. I stop, but I don't turn around.
We have conflict. We need to resolve it right now.
What manner of conflict? I tried to help someone. Y'all made it worse.
She was cutting. She slapped at you. We were defending you. How were we making it worse?
I'm not talking about
turn
this
around.
one situation. I'm talking about in general. Please come back so we
I
can
am not
talk.
having this conversation. No, thank you.
I think you need to have it, or we're not going to get anywhere.
That's very sweet, but we aren't doing this.
For God's sake! Then I just stumble.
Wolfina.
Ipsis.
If we're going to continue trying to solve this together, there are a couple things that need to be made clear. One, making declarations and walking away is no longer acceptable. Two,
Then by all means, don't do it.
how to put this? You need to stop clearly holding on to information until after the situation is resolved, so you can use it as I told you so.
Such as?
What you just did.
That was simple inference. The fact that you were too dumb to follow what I was doing without me spelling it out for you is your own problem.
Well, Fina, that's unfair. That's not fair.
You cannot.
Farrah figured it out.
Farrah literally just said he just figured it out now after you said it.
No.
I knew what she was doing.
It was pretty obvious.
She wanted to make the point that she was there to help, so she took the hit on purpose.
Oh, that one situation? I'm talking about the overall situation and the...
There's sick people coming from an area who outright told you that there's a sickness spreading. I healed one person as a gesture of goodwill, and hey, it worked. Now we know that I have a protection for us against this thing that we're literally walking into unless we change course.
Number 3, we need to stop interrupting each other. I was literally in the middle of a sentence.
That's part of our charm.
No, it's not, and it will stop.
I don't know where you get off thinking that you have the right to tell me what to do. It's very interesting. Don't let me stop you. But I've had quite enough of your rash, blood first questions later actions yourself. So if you want to have this conversation, we can, but I guarantee it will not go the way that you think it's about to based on what you just said to me. Now, I think, given that we have a situation that's very urgently happening and people who need us, we should probably start heading in that direction, all the while being very careful that we don't stumble into whatever the curse itself is. Objections?
No argument here.
I'm not moving until we handle this.
Then you may stay there until the world ends.
You're letting your hostility towards me get in the way of what we're trying to do.
My only friend just left. Her coin left behind in this weird, bizarre monstrosity. And you expect me to think not only clearly, but to deal with whatever it is that you're bringing up to me right now. Does that seem at all wise?
If you are capable of pointing out that you are being irrational, you are capable of doing something about it.
I did not say it was irrational.
Aaron, I have a question. Does Farron know much about the Yuan-Ti?
Roll me a history with disadvantage.
All right.
To see what you might know.
Natural 1. That's exciting.
You have gathered from inference that Ibsis is a snake person of a variety you are not familiar with.
Okay.
The scales
Would-
are giveaway for what you know.
Okay, given Sarah's profession, would he know a lot about Ipsis's race?
If you also want to know that, make me a history with disadvantage.
Okay, fair enough. I'm feeling good about this, guys. I really am. This is gonna be good. Good, and that is a
God
5.
damn! Two
Ipsis
really
is a
high
snake
rolls
person.
countered by really low rolls.
Ipsis is a snake person. You're confident that she's not a Naga.
Gotcha.
They don't have feet.
Right.
And I whispered to Farron, she's not a Naga. It's good.
That's as much as you would know. You know that Naga don't have feet, and that's your extent of knowledge.
And Sarah's like, see, she has feet. If she was a Naga, she'd have like a tail. So,
Okay.
yeah, so we're good.
Okay, so Farron looks to Ipsis and says, no pun intended, but why are you so cold, like all the time?
Yes.
Are you just like devoid of life and focused only on the goal that you see?
Yeah, you kind of remind me of my brother. Just saying. Just saying.
I mean, this is besides the point, but of what we're trying to accomplish. But if you really want to know, it's the way of my people.
I think you've just
Also-
proven my point.
Also, that was incredibly smug. But, and I don't know how it proves your point because I still don't understand what your point is. But, the easy emotion is, and to be clear, I lack emotion. I don't lack understanding. Those are two very separate things. I was very rational in that situation.
Rational.
Yes, I warned them.
So
They persisted.
shooting,
I did something non-lethal and declared my intent my wish not to cause further harm, but reiterated my position. If I was some bloodthirsty beast, that child would have been dead.
I don't doubt that. I've seen how lethal you can be. But the point, well, the original point I was trying to make when I spoke up was that maybe you are lacking a little bit in understanding in this case. Either way, the fact remains that while that we were trying to resolve the situation with words, and then when the girl attacked and Wolfina took the hit deliberately to show them that she meant no harm, you escalated it by firing.
No, I escalated it by pulling out.
That's and Sarah kind of.
Okay,
Actually,
let me give you my perspective on this, and I will concede that point. That I did escalate the situation. Let me give you my perspective. We are in a world where the world is literally falling apart because of these half ascended. half ascended being pseudo deities. Deities grant powers. Mysterious disease. Rot, death, end. And all of a sudden somebody attacks somebody that I attacks Wilfina.
None of your business. If we were in a situation of outright hostility where I was attacking instead of very obviously not afraid of a young person with a sickle who fell flat on her face in front of me, then that would be a situation where it would be one thing. I have never needed your help defending myself. You acted out of line. It was none of your business. I told you if you needed to leave so that I could go off and investigate something of an elven matter. I do not follow you around. Yet you persist in following me and interfering in things that you have no business in. And every time, inevitably, you bring violence.
I was still talking.
I don't give a fuck. The fact remains. Now, if anyone needs to get in line, it is surely not me. And in any case, I don't care. I have something to do. I am concerned that there is a plague affecting elves. Now, if you want to come along and help, then by all means, I welcome it. But I'm not going to stand here in the crossroads, and argue with you about it after that girl's blood is still on the ground where you dripped it for no reason. She acted in fear. That was obvious. I'm leaving, and I'm going to go investigate what's going on. At this point, I don't really care about this whole world-ending nonsense because I don't even know if it's true. It's all I've just heard bits and pieces. I have no idea. I do know that there's a plague of some kind, and I'm going to look into it. Thank you. I'm leaving. I grab my things, I turn, and I walk down the road. I'm being very careful as I walk, looking for any signs of weirdness, but I am leaving now. I'm not going to continue with this conversation.
I
Hang on,
just
as you are.
I look at the other two. Say, yes, I am clearly the one who is unreasonable here.
Let's just come back to this conversation at another
We're
time.
never coming back.
And before he just puts at another time, it's
all I'm saying is we are never coming back to this conversation.
fine. And I follow Wolfie.
Varen just looks at Ipsis and says, "We almost do what we think is right. I just hope it matches. I just hope that we can all see from the same." No, that's not the right choice of words. We almost do what we think is right. I just hope that this doesn't come up again because of what one person sees as right, the other sees as wrong. I'm sure that there might be something that stops you from seeing that sort of thing. But if we're going to work together on this, I haven't been a part of this group for as long as you and Wolfina, but if we are going to work together to ultimately save the world from ripping itself to pieces, then we're going to have to get along in some manner. And that means we all need to make sacrifices. And sometimes that involves letting someone else do what they need to do without interfering.
Are you honestly saying that I haven't made a ridiculous amount of concessions right now?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Are you honestly saying that I haven't made a ridiculous amount of concessions, letting myself be talked over, constantly following leads, following people's leads. I'm going with you for now.
You will do what you think is right.
But
I
I
just
am
hope
not
it's
a
not
doormat.
And neither is anyone else. And with that, Farron continues down the road.
Wolfina, as you're heading along, make me an insight check.
Okay. Seven.
You can't determine what it is, but you feel your sword watching. You can feel that observation.
If you have something to say, just say it.
It is nearly autumn. You have half a year.
For what?
You're going to prove yourself to me?
I'm going to do what I need to do. The matter of whether I prove myself to you is rather moot at this point, don't you think?
We are the stubborn folk, are we not?
I don't belong out here, but since I'm here, I'll try and do some good where I can.
And if those you wish to do good upon do not wish for your good?
Then I will attempt to show them the light of the moon, the light of the goddess. If once they've been presented with it, they then choose to reject it, that's on them. But I will not assume that my own nothingness and presentation are enough. I will show them her power. I will not allow evil to flourish, if that's what you're referring to. If people willingly choose to live in evil, that does not mean that I will not still try to remove it.
Is it evil for someone to live outside of the glow of our goddess?
It's evil for sickness and disease and plague to spread. If
Perhaps.
they live outside of the goddess's purveyance, then so be it. But if they are actively being harmed in so doing, her light shines brightly. It will illuminate such places.
And we will see what you do with that path.
Our goddess is a protector, is she not?
She is.
She is a protector. She is determined. She brings forth new light in defiance of the winter. She's the spring goddess. Spring is always in defiance of the winter. Winter does not give up its hold easily.
Do you scorn the dream of Yara that births her goddess?
out of character. I'm not sure who you're referring to.
Iara is the goddess of sleep. She's the fifth moon.
Oh,
She's-
the fifth moon. I'm skimming.
She is
Sorry.
the moon of winter.
Okay.
Though I can see in the Pantheon's document, there's still a typo. It still says leap as opposed to sleep.
Oh,
Because,
sorry.
yeah, I'm not smart. But yeah, she's
The fifth moon. Okay.
one of the other members.
That's what that means. Okay. I thought it was a typo of deep.
Nope.
I thought so too.
No, dreamers and the lazy. Goddess of sleep.
Oh, there. Okay. I didn't read the
Gotcha.
rest of it.
Good to know.
So can you repeat that with that context?
Do you defy Iara as her winter birth our goddess?
Do I what her?
Defy.
Defy.
Because you specifically said spring
Yes.
is in defiance of winter.
Yes. I use that word deliberately.
Mhm.
Each goddess is in power and in play, but not necessarily in harmony. Each defies the other to bring about its own intent. I defy Iara outside of her place. I defy her outside of her purveyance, as is the right of any being that exists in one sphere or another. Failure to do so is death. I will not act in violence unless absolutely necessary, but as a sword, I would think you understand a certain amount of determination necessary to continue.
We are the leaders.
And I will do as such.
Then the question of Rella's followers is those who do not wish to follow her. What is a good leader?
Of those who don't wish to follow Rella.
How does a goddess, how does a mortal govern or lead if once they are told that someone does not wish to lead? Must they show their strength, prove their capacity before an informed decision can be reached?
You were breaking up a little bit. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to piece together what you said.
Let me try and move my microphone.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'll turn my volume up a little.
It's okay. If the question of leaders, mortal and gods alike, is what to do when others do not wish to lead. When if you are, if they do not wish to follow, if you are, if you wish to lead and they do not wish to follow, must you show them your might, your competence before they can truly make an informed decision? Or should you respect the decision they reach before? How to lead well, how to be good and lead, how to be determined but remain within your own season, if you so despise those that reach outside of theirs.
I act more from the practical standing. If you're questioning my specific actions today, as your method of questioning seems to suggest, I act fully within my conscience. There are children. They have rights that exist independent of the decisions, good or ill, of their parents. And I will act to help even if there is resistance. If I, as I was in this instance, under the impression that there is an outside, potentially malevolent influence that is impacting their ability to see and think and decision clearly. After that was made clear to me in this case, I let them go on their way.
Did you?
I'm walking in this direction rather than another.
Consider your gifts. Consider the struggle that each moon carries. And what are the rest of you doing? As Wolfina is kind of yelling at her sword right now.
I'm not yelling at it. I'm having a quiet conversation.
I mean, you can call it that.
Totally, but
Oh, hun,
we're not like yelling down the fields, but that's still a yelled cell phone conversation.
Yeah.
if I was yelling, you'd know it.
Yeah.
As a teacher, I have a yell, and that was
I was gonna say, you're a teacher, so
Oh, I get teased for my big teacher voice. You haven't even come close. This is just my normal speaking
right.
voice. It just happens to be loud.
Ipsis is just walking. There
Wolfina
is
has a rather firm conversation with her sword.
Better.
I'll move back to where
nothing. Yeah.
I'll move back to where Farron is, and he'll just sigh like, why do I get the feeling you and I are just kind of along for the ride thus far? They don't seem to listen to either of us.
Maybe not, but we're gonna like.
Farron,
Sorry,
I
I'm a
want you
little.
to make me a religion with advantage because you might actually know something that the others don't.
Me?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, religion with advantage. Firing. 20.
Ooh.
So you remember something both about when you were in Rosekeep proper and just from hearing stuff from your upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
You would be aware that for those that are more religious, it is very important to receive treatment from within your own faith and from your own gods. And you would also be aware that to some religious cities, it can be seen as heresy to seek healing outside of your faith. You're not familiar with like if someone is coerced, they're necessarily punished because then that's people forcing it upon you. But like if, for example, someone is a follower of Emlo, and what's a good follower of Emlo, if they're really devoted, they might not want to go to even a temple of any of the other wings. They'd want to seek healing specifically from a cleric or acolyte medicine man of Emlo. And even if they're not quite that religious, they may steer away from asking like Kara, who's the goddess of harvest, but is not a member of the wings, for healing, or just avoid that. So you'd know that that's a religious stigma that's very much in place in this part of the world.
Okay.
Which could explain why
Yes, that
there
explains the
was
heretic.
hesitation and even hostility from the group when
Okay.
before Wolfina forced their hand.
Okay. Yeah, that explains the heretic angle there.
Because you know that Wolfina was indicted for heretical practice and heretical worship. Scott just had heretical practice, but yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right, of course. Farron comes from a more religiously tolerant region.
To your perspective, yeah.
Like
Um,
that's why she offered Wolfina a place in Sunhaven,
Mhm.
because Sunhaven is accepting of other faiths to a degree.
Yeah. But still, even in Sunhaven, if someone is devoted to a particular god, they might not want to, and that's part of acceptance. Like, is
Right.
if someone really wants to go to the moons, they might just go to the moons and not go to the wings, and that
Yeah.
should be fine, but would be a thing. Tyler, sorry.
No.
Okay. As you continue on, what's happened?
That's a good question.
Yep.
Would Wolfina have known that? Because that would have
Um,
changed a lot.
No, that's not a tradition you'd necessarily be familiar with.
Okay.
Though Wolfina, looking back on events, even though you very much feel you were in the right, you do recall that the guy started getting tense when you mentioned your affiliation.
I was interpreting it differently, but it now makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Well, given that you don't have any sort of cultural upbringing within the religious structures, your interpretation probably stands. But as you're mulling it over in your head,
Oh.
that could have
Wouldn't
been
have changed what I did.
off a bit. That could have been
Right.
why he continued on, which is stupid because he should have accepted healing. He needed it.
Right.
His family needed it. But
He was a bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was running because he was evil guy.
yeah.
And people
But-
say
Yeah, why are we whispering?
Ibsis is the pessimistic one.
But yeah, so rolling it over in your head, that was when he started retreating. That could indicate that he was evil and didn't want to see justice. That could indicate
Could be.
that he was bigoted and afraid of your power and faith, or that he just didn't understand. But you do sort of, in retrospect, realize that was when he started leaving.
Can I ask the sword something else?
Yeah, I mean, the sword is there.
Okay.
Sword?
Well, I'm like thinking through this. I'm like, would I have pieced together that he was resistant because he was maybe of a different faith?
You can make me a religion roll.
Okay.
There's some things you'll know regardless, but given you didn't have training, this is a roll that. So things you'd know regardless. Your faith is not particularly common in this area. You did openly declare it. You'd also know. I should probably move the "you are here" sign. Sorry, that's not related. You would also know that you, given your very personal connection, do have a predilection towards your own temples. Like, yeah, if it's winter, maybe you would go to. You don't need to go to other clerics, but like, you are most comfortable with
Sure.
the people of your own faith. So you could probably be putting some of that together, but then again, your interpretation is reasonable and stands. It's just Farron has cultural information that
Okay.
might add or change that.
I'm going still to ask the sword.
Yeah.
Why was I so hated?
Initially or after your action?
If Rella is good, then how can I be hated by anyone who is not themselves bad? How can the light be hated by anything but the darkness? When you're desperate,
Wolfina, make
They
me a
needed
wisdom
help, but
save.
they ran. A wisdom save?
Yep.
15?
So as you guys are walking, you're about to make camp for the night, and you're kind of all doing that. Who's gonna talk to the angry person and ask them where we should?
Yeah, that's basically what me and Farron are doing. So which one of us is gonna try to defuse
Yeah.
this?
Once it get and also once it's getting close to time, Ipsis is proactively because
Yeah.
that's what she does.
But there's still that slight tension of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if Ibsis finds a campsite, will Wolfina accept it?
Right.
That sort of tension might be going through some of your minds as suddenly Wolfina's sword clinks to the ground and she goes whoop inside of it.
What? Oh no.
You definitely see that happen.
So Farron immediately rushes to the sword,
God damn.
but she does not pick it up.
Wolfina, as you're sort of explaining how Relis good and how could anything but evil be hostility? The surroundings around you suddenly drastically shift and change. And instead of being in a kind of generic grassy field with a trail through it that carts can take, you are in waist high grass, blooming flowers, some of which are taller than your head, sweet spring air, bright, vague clouds in the sky, and a sort of warmth and energy. You find that you're wearing your vestments. You're not necessarily wearing armor or anything anymore, or at least in this illusion. But you are holding the sword still.
What's the sky look like?
It is bright blue, but as you look up towards where you'd expect the sun to be, you instead see only the moons. Most notably, you see what confirms the sort of general sensation you got from the area around you. The brightness of the first moon.
I prostrate myself.
It's hard to teach you a lesson if you're just going to be in reverence, you hear from the sword.
I don't move for a moment. What do you want from me?
It is easier to show you here. This is good. This is pure. This is Rella as I feel her within my soul. Can we agree on that?
I see no reason to disagree with you.
How could anyone dislike this?
Dislike is a very slight word. I could see how any manner could dislike it. How could anyone hate it, wish to destroy it, run from it? That's a whole other story.
You only run from what you absolutely abhor?
Yes. Do you remember where I've been for the past 10 years?
I do. Do you
I
think
clung to whatever I could to survive, unless it was absolutely of darkness.
Do you think that is true of all beings?
It should be.
Are you old enough to have heard the story? Were you old enough to have heard the story of when our goddess went to war?
Was
You were like 10. Normally, your temple would have told you. And you can feel the world around you changing.
I? A little dizzy.
The flowers are still there, though the light is dimmer. We do not hold many stories as sacred. But when our goddess went to war, he led the moons, not against any creature of evil, but against a good that had grown too far and too great. She stood alongside the crown prince of hell. They were not allies, but they both saw what was happening. And you can see around you ivory stones, just bricks of ivory, crushing flowers.
Stop!
Right? But this is a pure kind of ivory. It is good. It is made from light and sacred healing. How could anyone not wish to live in an order created by a divine good?
The good is acting in destruction.
It's building.
No, it's destroying. I step away from the sword.
Not every good can always be aligned. The dove is good, but does that make the hawk evil? Oh. The deer
It is
is
if you're a
good.
dove.
The deer
If
is
you're outside the order, it means it's nothing. It's a neutrality. But if you are a dove, the hawk is evil.
But can you disdain the dove for fleeing from what is a truly good hawk?
Perspective is important.
It is. How could someone hate something that is good?
Because it is not good.
Or because it is not good for them?
If it's not good for them, then it is not an absolute good.
Is there absolute good? And at this point, we're transitioning back to the rest of the group. Your friend turned into a sword / got absorbed into a sword that she's been having conversations with. So there's that.
Remind us what we know, what Wolfina has told us about the
Sure.
sword.
Ibsis, I think all you know is that the sword was initially buried in a sacred tree that you met the dryad of, and the sword was given to Wolfina as a gift for sort of that. You'd also be aware that this was in some way or another sacred to Wolfina's goddess and fate.
That's right. We do know that it's Rella. That was
Yeah.
very
Would
definitely
mean-
said when
You
we
don't
found it.
necessarily know what the huge significance of a moonblade is, I don't think, but you would know that like Wolfina was the only one there that could even remotely use it, and that it's a picky sword.
Yeah, that's okay. I did not remember if he knew that it was a holy sword essentially. So he's like, pick up the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Let's head to
Weirdly,
the camp.
you can carry it.
No,
can't
this is me
really-
say this is
Oh.
She's saying they both ran to the sword. She's not going to try and race them to get to it.
Yeah.
Pick
Okay.
up the sword. Let's bring it to camp. Keep it safe. I have a feeling this is a personal matter.
The other two of you mostly know that Wilfina talks to the sword.
It's
Oh,
a
wow.
holy
Yeah.
sword.
All
So-
that I know about it is that Wolfina talks to it sometimes. I've seen her do it once.
Yeah.
Me too. Actually, my first night with you guys, she talked to it for quite a bit.
Yes. It's a holy weapon.
I see.
Huh.
If she does not come out in a moderately short amount of time, I will be honest, I don't know what to do. I don't know what we would even do. I am not fluent in the dogmas of Rella, or whether when a holy sword sucks you in, if that takes 5 minutes or a full age. And I don't know, I certainly don't know what we would do to get her out of it.
There's like, don't
I
look at
imagine.
me.
I imagine we would need to find a temple of her faith, which may be difficult. I'm not sure. Given the reaction of those people on the road, it's very likely that there isn't actually a temple to. Sorry, I forget exactly which. No, this is in
Rella.
character.
Rella.
Rala. Okay.
I think that is very likely that we will have a difficult time.
If all else
Let's-
fails, do we know? Sorry, I interrupted.
It's okay. I was simply going to say that we could try communicating with the sword, but that is risky because none of us, to the best of my knowledge, this is dependent on you, on the both of you, but I believe none of us are adherents to Rella, and I don't know Rella well enough to know if Rella will be like, "You're not one of mine, I'm not talking to you," or "You're not one of mine, I'm striking you down for having the temerity to try to speak with me."
Good point.
So I think we probably, for now, and it looks like she is very uncomfortable with the words that next come out of her mouth. We will simply hope for the best.
Did you just say hope for the best?
And be prepared for the fact that our friend is dead,
There's
because that's much more likely the case. But honestly, at this point, what we do functionally for the purposes only of what we are doing and not greater implications, it literally doesn't matter right now if she is speaking with her deity or if she was disintegrated, because there is nothing we can do at this instant.
So wait a
Different
minute.
either
Wait a
way.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're saying we just make camp for now, see if anything happens, and
And
what?
by morning we try and figure out from there.
With the possible exclusion of Ipsis, Jeremy, that's up to you. You'd all know which moon is your moon in the way that a lot of people have colloquial knowledge of which
Right.
zodiac sign they are.
I mean, I feel like no, there are no moons in the Deeplands.
Okay, so it's a question of whether or not you'd feel like figuring it out based on like a calendar / time of year situation.
But
Right.
I don't feel like.
But yeah.
I
Right.
would say probably not, because I don't even know how much the idea of the moon would come up below.
Right. Considering even
Yeah. And then when
No,
she knew about
the
moons,
sky-oriented gods tend to be less popular in the Deeplands.
yeah. And then when she got to the Feywild, where there were moons, sometimes 7, sometimes 1. It just depended.
right.
And the moons were not actually embodied deities.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So the two of you would have that sort of colloquial knowledge. Obviously, it's up to you when your character was born.
Yeah.
Um,
Rereading the details of the 5. Narrowing it down, Rella is actually one of the 2 contenders for Farron.
Yeah, and obviously, not everyone's zodiac sign is ever accurate. Not everyone born under a moon is like actively like that makes sense, that fits them.
What are
But
you
Yeah, that's
talking
fair.
about, Aaron? Zodiac and astrology is an exact science, and there is no deviation whatsoever.
none.
yeah, I'm a Libra. I feel like that should be enough of a. It's more complicated than that if you do put faith in it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I am making a joke without trying to be insulting to people who
Yeah.
are
Right.
interested in astrology.
And legitimately, those
Perfectly
who
fine.
follow it in a more like that's their faith way also acknowledge that not everyone will perfectly
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
Is the sword sheathed?
No.
Interesting.
Ib says, Wolfina put it in a sheath, but it wasn't sheathed when she got it.
Yep.
Okay, so because the sheath didn't belong to the sword, it got sucked in.
That's a reasonable inference to make.
Farron will very tentatively take the sword by its hilt.
You can carry it. Weirdly, it feels like there's no balance to it.
What kind of what kind of sword is it?
I believe it's a long.
I think it's a long sword, was what you would say.
Okay.
Like you get, even though you might not, you're proficient with.
Yes, I'm proficient with long swords.
Yeah. Even though you're proficient with them, you get the sense you couldn't wield this as a weapon, but you're able to physically carry it.
Okay. So yeah, carrying that point down because it's. I imagine it's resisting, like it doesn't want me to carry it.
Doesn't seem like that. You don't feel any presence or sentience to the weapon when you hold it.
Okay.
It
But
just like there's something about the way it's balanced that tickles the back of your brain as like you could just as easily be holding a slab of wood, and it might even be a more effective weapon. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, carrying that point down just so I don't wildly swing it and hit someone with it by sheer accident. All right, let's find a campsite.
Yep.
All right.
Wolfina, within the sword. You just feel the presence observing you.
You're trying to tell me a thing that cannot be true.
What you believe about the nature of good is up to you. What I tell you is that what I tell you is what I remember. The history of our people. The war we waged to stop a destructive but truly good force.
There's no such thing.
When you use your magic to cure disease or end a curse, you are destroying that.
I'm destroying a thing of darkness, which is less destruction and more a restoration of balance, things to the way they ought to be. the way they were before the darkness crept up from the bowels where it belongs. I don't wish to debate the esoteric nature of good and evil. I know what I have seen. I know what I have lived. I know that I have lived and clung to that life only through the light of Rella herself. Now, whether that is the same Rella that you once knew, I cannot know for sure. I know you were locked up for a very long time. But I know that from day to day, it was her light and her light alone that gave me sustenance, that kept me from death, that kept me from destruction from moment to moment, and kept me in the good graces of others that I needed help from. What you are describing is disturbing, and it is not the Rella that I know.
Perhaps you were too young for that story. Very well. Then think on this. If another good god, not Rella, let us say Relnor, he is a good one. If the sky's winged form reached out to you and said, I can heal you, would you hesitate?
If I needed healing, I would take it from whatever good force enabled it, because the good flows from the same source. It is light. It is protection. It is goodness. We're all good beings and beings of light. I will not deny help from a source that means me well. I have accepted it in the past. Do you think I only was among my own people all this time in the Feywild? I was among all sorts of cultures, all sorts of creatures that looked far stranger than that winged being that appeared. And I survived. I was referring to his race. Her race, sorry. If you find me unworthy, then decide it.
I have given you a time to prove yourself. You have that time, no matter what I feel now.
What do you feel now?
I wonder if you are able, as a sword, I am a weapon of battle. The leaders that carry me, and Rella's are leaders, have made many choices and taken many paths. I wonder if I will choose a leader who cannot accept those that might see things differently.
I accept those who see things differently, but not those who see things evil. If you prefer someone else, I will leave you at the nearest city and find you someone who is more able to suit your purposes. I have been a servant of Rella these many years and will continue to do so as long as I remain in her graces. I need not continue with you if you do not wish to continue with me.
Give some thought to why Rella keeps you alive. And you find yourself looking up at you find yourself awake and looking up in a bland field, looking at the third moon. As you wake, your ally is potentially a little bit worried, in a grassy field.
Would we have found a suitable campsite by this time?
Yeah, easily.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. No, I've
Okay.
found a
Maybe
place. I've
been
set it up.
Yeah, it's maybe been 20 minutes, but you've set up a campsite.
I'm
It was
standing
about
guard.
time to stop anyways.
Yep.
Okay, then by that time, Farron would have set the sword back down and
Mhm.
found a place to sit down to watch it, just in case.
All right.
I found a vantage point where I can stand guard over everybody.
Mhm.
And I'm on like the perimeter of the camp, basically. Just
And speaking of time to stop, I've run 10 minutes over, so we're gonna end there for the night. Say goodbye, everyone.
goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy Halloween from New Zealand.
Woo!
Yay.